The 38th annual SummerSlam took place tonight in East Rutherford, New Jersey at MetLife Stadium. This is the third WWE event to take place in that venue, the first being WrestleMania 29 in 2013 and then WrestleMania 35 in 2019. This was also the first two-night SummerSlam, as this was night one. And also, another thing worth noting is this is now the 12th SummerSlam that has taken place in either New York or New Jersey, between one of those two states. That's nearly a third of all SummerSlams. That's New York / New Jersey is the unofficial home of SummerSlam. That's impressive. WrestleMania, there hasn't been as many events in one of those two states as compared to SummerSlam. So that's impressive. I did watch the Countdown show, the Countdown to SummerSlam Saturday. That's what it was called. And I didn't pay too much attention to it at first because it started off at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. And if I watched it all, that would have been 3 hours I had to sit through. So I started watching around 4. And I enjoyed it, actually. I don't usually like them too much because I found a lot of the people annoying on it. But I actually enjoyed this year's Countdown show. You had Michael Cole, Wade Barrett, and Big E on the panel. You had Jackie Redmond and Kathy Kelly as reporters and doing interviews. They also had Byron Saxton in the fan zone. And then they had Megan Morant. They had Sam Roberts and that Rosenberg guy who I don't like. I wanted to mention some notes here also. News broke earlier today that Becky Lynch has new theme music. I actually listened to a snippet that she posted on her X, and it's so much better than any of the Def Rebel bullshit that WWE produces. And I'm thinking to myself, this undermines so much of the talent. If they had good theme music like Becky does, or she now does, it would help them a lot. And I'm so sick of Def Rebel. They suck. WWE, Def Rebel sucks. TKO, can you spend some money? You're making all this historic record profits with WWE and UFC. Can you just pay a good band to make good theme music? Because Def Rebel sucks. I always have to get that out of my chest. It always annoys me. I always have to get that off my chest. Def Rebel sucks. Okay. So, Becky Lynch, speaking of her, I wanted to make note of this as well. She's going to wrestle tomorrow night in the same building that she was in the main event of WrestleMania 35 in 2019. That's when she won both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Championship in a triple threat match involving Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair. Speaking of her, she wrestled tonight, and actually maybe I should say today because it was still during the day when she was wrestling, but Charlotte made her second appearance in MetLife Stadium. She also participated in the main event, and her tag team partner, Alexa Bliss, was the one who hosted that event in 2019, WrestleMania 35, and she did a great job of hosting. And there was also a segment with her and Hulk Hogan at the beginning of the show. So, also, I felt like I should mention this. Maybe this was storyline, looking how the show ended, and I'll get to that later. But LA Knight decided to like a comment on his Instagram post that said it was basically telling Triple H to put him in the main event scene in WWE or let him go to be a main event talent somewhere else. So, could be a storyline. I think the way the show ended, it probably was. He's just feeding into it a bit. But that is worth noting because he is still an upper mid carder in WWE, and he did pin Seth Rollins on Saturday Night's Main Event a few weeks ago. So wanted to mention that. It was announced during the Countdown show that Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed will start the show. I think that was pretty obvious. That's what I assumed would open the show anyways. Kathy Kelly was interviewing Sami Zayn ahead of his match with Karrion Kross. I have a lot to say on that. And speaking of Karrion Kross, Jackie Redmond decided to promote Karrion Kross's book on the panel. And when I first saw that, this was before I saw what happened in the match. When I first saw that, I got kind of excited because I thought, that's great, Karrion staying in WWE. There is no way in hell they would just promote his book if he was going to leave. So they're promoting his book. He's staying. That's great news. What happened later in the show, what happened with his match with Sami Zayn, man, did I ever do a 180 on that. But at least it was nice of them to have Jackie Redmond promote his book. Maybe it's you know. You know what? I'll save my feelings regarding that issue when I talk about that match. But I'm going to leave it at that. At least they promoted his book. There's also a stage this year, which is worth noting because this is the first time they've done a stage for a Stadium SummerSlam show. It's a simple setup. It looks similar to the WrestleMania 35 stage, in which that was a giant LED screen. Here, there's 4 horizontal LED screens. That's how I would describe it. Each of them have the New York City skyline in the background, and you have the SummerSlam logo in the front. I would say this stage is nice, and in some ways you can say it's about the same quality of the WrestleMania 35 stage, which isn't very good either. That's probably the worst WrestleMania stage. But I'm glad they're at least doing stages for SummerSlam. It's easily the best SummerSlam stage I've seen in a while. And I hope they keep doing stages for these non-WrestleMania stadium shows. I really hate it when they just put a canopy and around where the entranceway is and the wrestlers just walk out. It just looks so cheap to me. So I'm glad we got a stage here. One thing I don't like about SummerSlam is the logo. The logo sucks. It's just like an S, and it has a line at the top connecting the S, which covers the other letters. I hate that. I like the old SummerSlam logo that had that giant green S, and it had a green and blue color scheme, which is very summerish, very summer colors. Green, nature, blue, water, the sky. That's very summerish. I hate the new SummerSlam logo, and I hate how dark it looks. Why do the SummerSlam posters look dark as well? I wanted to mention that I don't like. But that old SummerSlam logo is so much better. Even the star, after they got rid of the big ass, they got the star. That even looks better than this logo. So, but I'm glad we at least got a stage this year. And the actual bottom of the stage was just wasn't really an LED screen. It was just it looked just clear to me. There really wasn't much to it. In some ways, it was kind of similar to the WrestleMania 40 stage, the bottom part. I mean, not the top. In some ways, it was similar to that, where it's just a ground, but it's it is a stage. You can tell. It's not like they're just walking on the ground, how it usually is. So, also, I felt like I had to mention this because I was thinking about it watching the Countdown show. And the main reason I watch a Countdown show is for 2 women, Jackie Redmond and Kathy Kelly. They both looked great tonight. Can we just be honest? Both of them are very attractive. I like the dresses they chose. I wanted to mention that. I really wouldn't watch a Countdown show without them because I find so many other people on that show really annoying. But I do like both Jackie Redmond and Kathy Kelly. So I liked what they were wearing. And Megan Morant, too. I had to mention her. She looked good. It was announced that Michael Cole and Wade Barrett will be on commentary for both nights. And when I heard that, I had my fingers crossed thinking, please no Pat. Pat, don't show up. No Pat. No Pat. Thankfully, he didn't show up. I don't think he's coming back. He can just stay doing football and don't come back, Pat. I'm happy with Cole and Barrett's fine. Cole and Graves is good on TV on Raw. And then Barrett and Tessitore's fine on SmackDown. I don't want Pat back. He had Stephanie McMahon on the panel, and she was in the stands near the end of the show. She was with Jackie and Big E. She was promoting her show. I really don't watch it, I'm not going to lie, but we did see Stephanie, so it was nice to see her. And you didn't have Triple H open the show this year, and I'll get to that later. But so I don't know if we'll see Stephanie open tomorrow night. Also, I had to mention this. Supposedly, WWE produced a video package highlighting all the celebrity involvement within the company over the years, and a notable omission was Travis Scott. There's been talk and rumors and innuendo that they had a big falling out. I think that's pretty obvious, and thank you, WWE, for omitting that asshole. Fuck him. He ruined the main event of WrestleMania last year. Drew McIntyre said it himself on, I think it was Logan Paul's show. He ruined the main event last year. Fuck Travis Scott. There was also no major news like WWE purchasing another wrestling promotion like you had during the WrestleMania countdown, but that's all the notes I had for the SummerSlam kickoff. I enjoyed it more than usual, and I don't think I'll watch as much tomorrow, but I did like what they did for the countdown show this year. So SummerSlam, now the main show officially started off. You had to fly over to start the show. I think they were doing the national anthem. I didn't get the national anthem. Of course, I'm watching on the international feed, so I don't hear them singing America the Beautiful. All I saw was a flyover, so I assume it was during the national anthem. We saw Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul, Randy Orton, Jelly Roll, Gunther, and CM Punk all arriving at MetLife Stadium before the show. They had Drewski, some rapper, narrate the SummerSlam video package. So sick of all these rappers. Speaking of rappers, they had a host of SummerSlam, and they barely promoted it as of late, so I was hoping she wouldn't show up, but unfortunately she was there. I heard a rumor that she's only going to be there one night, so hopefully she doesn't come out tomorrow night, but if she does, make it as short as this one was. You had a Cardi B coming out. Crowd was going mild. I mean, there were some people cheering just because it's the beginning of the show, but it was pretty a mild reception, and she's taking forever to go to the ring. I think you all know which rapper I have. Maybe it's just to have PTSD from that rapper at WrestleMania this year. And Cardi B is taking forever to go to the ring. She's wearing some outfit that looks stupid. And promo was quick at least. She got out of there quickly. She was basically reading off a teleprompter, you can tell. And then I was actually expecting her to do the yeet. She was going to do the yeet with Jey Uso. I assumed she'd be part of his entrance. She wasn't. Jey Uso made his own entrance. He did the yeet entrance through the crowd. And his entrance was very long because I don't think people understand. It's not just a stadium. MetLife Stadium is the biggest stadium in the NFL. It has the largest seat capacity. And you could tell there were some tarps near the stage. But, I mean, MetLife Stadium's the biggest stadium. So it took a while for him to make his entrance. And also I had to mention the announcers, they have the poker table LED announce booths back. I think they do that for all the big shows now. Ever since WrestleMania went into Vegas this year, they do the casino the poker table themed announce booths, and they're going to keep it now because WrestleMania is in Vegas again next year. So, Roman Reigns then comes out next. Obviously, he gets a big pop. People love Roman Reigns. And his entrance takes longer than Jey Uso's did. It takes forever, but it's Roman Reigns. It's the modern Undertaker entrance. And speaking of Undertaker, he did something very similar to Undertaker in this match, which I'll get to later. Paul Heyman accompanied Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed as they made their entrance. Bronson Reed was wearing Roman Reigns' sneakers that he stole on Raw around his neck, similar to how Roman wears the Ula Fala. And then we get our opener, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso taking on Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. So, Jay did the yeet early in the match, which annoyed the fuck out of me. I hated it. I hate the yeets. I don't like when Jay does it. I don't like Jey Uso. He does it. The heels pulled him out of the ring. They pulled Roman out of the ring, actually. And when they broke it up and the music stopped, the crowd booed, but I cheered. They got a big babyface reaction out of me, so thank you, Bron and Bronson. The heels got the heat on Jay for a while. Roman eventually gets the hot tag, and then he does this huge dive. And there was a dive earlier. I think Jey Uso came off the top rope earlier, but Roman's in the ring. He's in the center of the ring. You can tell he's going to do it because Bron and Bronson are on the outside. He looks, and he takes a while. He hesitates almost, it seems like. And then he does the giant Undertaker dive to the outside. But he jumps too far, and he flips over. It was scary as fuck. It could have been really much a disaster in which he lands on his head. Remember WrestleMania 25, Undertaker does that giant dive onto Shawn Michaels, and the cameraman, who I think was Jimmy Snuka's son, who was supposed to catch Taker, he does it. Taker goes like head first into the fucking ground. We all thought like he broke his neck or he had a concussion. That could have been this. But, Undertaker was fine. He didn't get hurt. But Roman, he could have been hurt easily, but he was fine. He landed on his back, so he went all the way over and landed on his back, so he flipped. It was kind of like a 180 in a way. But it could have been really bad if he did not land on his back. He landed on his head. He jumped too far. It was a scary spot. Speaking of scary spots, Bronson Reed does a suicide dive onto Roman Reigns and Jey Uso while they are on the outside close to the announce booth. And Bronson, being such a big guy, he can't just land on someone, so he just lands on the floor on the mats. Looked really nasty. It looked like a dangerous spill. Bron Breakker clotheslined Roman Reigns over the announce table, but then he went to spear Roman. Roman caught him with the Superman punch. Then Roman Reigns spears Bron Breakker through the barricade, similar to what Bron did to him on Raw. And he hit him with a spear. Not a double spear this time, just a regular spear. In the end, you have Bron Breakker in the ring. Jey Uso is now the legal man. He's going to spear Jay, but Roman jumps in front of Jay, and he takes the bullet for Jay. And then Jay gets Bron out of the ring. I think he hit a spear or a super kick. I forget actually now. And then he spears Bronson Reed, goes to the top rope, hits the Uso splash, gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. Jey Uso pins Bronson Reed. I thought Roman Reigns would get the win. I really expected him to get the pin, but maybe he wanted to give the rub to his cousin Jey Uso. So Jey wins. He actually gets the winning fall both at WrestleMania night one this year and SummerSlam night one in the same year. So Jey got the win for his team. I thought the match went a bit too long. I thought it dragged too much, but there was a lot of good parts in it. It was an enjoyable match. Crowd was into it. The ending I felt was a bit anticlimactic, but overall I enjoyed the tag match. I thought it was a very solid match. And obviously Bronson Reed got the pin, and this was not the last we'd see of Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, or Bronson Reed in the whole night. We'd see him again, but we'll get to that later. So we see some of the monuments in New York, and it's funny, whenever they're in New Jersey, they always want you to know that they want you to think they're in New York. So we see the Statue of Liberty. Looked nice. I had to mention that. Then we get the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship on the line. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defended their titles against the Allies of Convenience, Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. So Charlotte Flair was out first. She got a lot of woos when she came out. And then Alexa Bliss came out too. You know what's going to happen. Of course, Alexa Bliss gets a big pop. She's Alexa Bliss. She got the Bliss pop. That's what we have to call it now. This woman is so over. It's crazy. And you can tell why, not just by looking at her of how cute she is, but I did really like her gear tonight. It was like a black and pink color scheme. She looked really pretty. It's usually she just wears a black, but I like how she added the pink in tonight. And I like Roxanne Perez's ring attire as well. And she was out next with her tag team partner, the former, spoiler now, women's tag team champion Raquel Rodriguez. The Judgement Day, that's what they're representing. They came out as tag team champions to defend their belts against Stratton and Alexa. Started off with them getting heat on Charlotte to start the match. Then Alexa gets a hot tag. Of course, she gets a pop when she gets a hot tag. She ran wild for a bit. Then the heels beat up Alexa for a while, and they really got the heat on her. And it was kind of similar to the opening match when they beat on Jay forever. Here they really beat on Alexa. Eventually, Alexa gets the hot tag to Charlotte Flair, her tag team partner. Charlotte goes wild. She hits a double moonsault onto both Raquel and Roxanne, which looked really good. I hope she just does that as the big moonsault spot now and doesn't do that old moonsault in which she would, when the opponent was on the outside, she would go to the top and do the moonsault onto the floor. That's just too dangerous now with all her knee issues. She should never do that again. I'm glad she didn't do it here. So you had a spot where Alexa accidentally punched Charlotte by mistake, and then she gets thrown out of the ring, and it looks like that's it. They're going to turn on each other. Roxanne then hits the pop rocks onto Charlotte. Looks like it's over. 1, 2. Alexa just comes in right in the nick of time, and she does like the snapmare onto Roxanne Perez, and it looked beautiful. It looked so good. It was 1, 2, and Alexa just times it so perfectly, and you can tell by Alexa's reaction is she's cheering when she's on the ground because she knows she hit it perfectly. It was an awesome spot. That's my favorite spot of the whole match. That was so great by Alexa and Roxanne and Charlotte for all being in position at the time, but especially Alexa. It looked great. And then near the end, you have Alexa setting up Roxanne for the Sister Abigail DDT. Raquel goes to stop it, and they were teasing, is Charlotte going to turn on Alexa? She's staring at Alexa for punching her, but instead Charlotte hits the big boot onto Raquel Rodriguez, takes her out. Alexa then hits the Sister Abigail on Roxanne Perez, pins her 1, 2, 3. We have new women's tag team champions. This run has been fantastic for both Charlotte and Alexa. More Charlotte. Alexa's over anyways, but she has something to do. She has a good storyline in Charlotte. This has just done wonders for her career. She owes Alexa Bliss a lot. I'm going to have to put it like that. Charlotte really owes Alexa because she was like the most hated person on the roster. At WrestleMania this year, she was the most hated person on who wrestled on that show. Everyone hated her when she was wrestling Tiffany. Here, it's like the complete opposite. So I'm glad they're champs. We got to see the Alexa Bliss title pose again. It's been so long since we've seen that, where she puts the belt over her shoulder and her face is like right close to the center of the gold. I'm so happy we got to see that again. I haven't seen that in years. But yeah, they're also doing the post show together, and the fans made them hug it out. I guess they were saying that they're friends now, and yeah, as I said, it's just been a surprise how well this team has worked out for them, and I'm glad they're the new champs, and I think they're going to continue to feud with Raquel and Roxanne going forward. So you had a bunch of wrestlers doing some segment where they're promoting Papa John's. You saw New Day, LWO, Maxine Dupree with Natalia and Akira Tozawa. And then Nikki Bella arrives, and she brings a pizza. And when Nikki showed up, she got a big pop people really like Nikki, and I heard her and Brie were there tonight, but they didn't show them. I guess they were in a press box, but Nikki and Brie Bella were both there tonight. Then we go to Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross, and I've got a lot to say here. This was the first misfire tonight. Fuck, this sucked. Anyway, Karrion Kross gets a big pop, and he's making his entrance with Scarlett, who is accompanied by him, and they're doing the black and white entrance, and Scarlett is just looking gorgeous. I mean, she's so hot. And then Sami Zayn comes out. He gets a big pop, as always. Kross got the heat for a while. Scarlett hands Kross a pipe, but he doesn't get to use it. He gets hit with the blue thunder bomb. She tries to hand it to Sami to confuse him, and he refused, and then Sami just wins with the haluva kick, and wow, that fucking sucked. That was a shit match. That match was fucking garbage. Wow, that was such bullshit how it ended like that. I saw Kross nodding to Sami after he beat him, and the way he was walking at the end, he's high-fiving fans like a total face and not a heel. I saw footage of that. I think he's a goner. They might have promoted his book as a gesture of goodwill at the end, but this looks like it's it. It looks like it's it for Karrion Kross and Scarlett. I really like Karrion Kross, really like Scarlett Bordeaux. That's what she was before she came into WWE. Kross was formerly Killer Kross. I've enjoyed her work. It sucks. One thing I know with Kross, he's really close with the late Kevin Castle of the Don Choney and Kevin Castle show. Been a long-time listener. Kevin always talked about Karrion Kross, whose real name is also Kevin. His name's Kevin Kessar. It's his real name. Yeah, that's unfortunate. If he was alive, he'd be really disappointed with how this ended. If Kross wants to do something else, good for him. If he doesn't want to stay, I don't think he should go to a wrestling promotion. I don't think that's going to help. But if he wants to do something else, he's 40 now. Hey, best to Karrion Kross, best to Scarlett, best wishes to them both. The way this looked to me like this was the end. It really felt like it. Match sucked. The way they just had Sami just beat him like nothing. It wasn't good, but looks like this is it for them. So maybe I guess they just promoted his book on the countdown as a gesture of goodwill to keep good contact with him and good relations with him in the future, maybe in case he wants to come back. So we had Michael Cole paying tribute to Hulk Hogan. He was doing very well when he was talking about Hogan paying tribute, and he actually incorporated the attendance into it, which he announced it was around 53,000. I like that because he's giving credit to Hogan. Without him, there is no 53,000 people in MetLife Stadium watching the 38th annual SummerSlam in 2025. Without Hulk Hogan, that doesn't happen. Hogan headlined the first SummerSlam in Madison Square Garden, not too far from this venue. He teamed with the Macho Man Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth in their corner. They were the Mega Powers, and they took on the Mega Bucks, Ted DiBiase and Andre the Giant. So 3 of the 4 competitors in the first SummerSlam were deceased now. That's very sad. And also Elizabeth, who was in their corner, the Mega Powers, she's passed away. And I think Virgil, he was in DiBiase and Andre's corner, if I'm not mistaken. He's passed on too. So wow, definitely very sad when you look back on it. Similar to the WrestleMania first main event, where so many of the first of the competitors are deceased now. So Cole was paying tribute, and he's doing a very good job. And they show Nick Hogan in the crowd, and they play Hulk Hogan's music. Real American gets a lot of cheers. We see Nick Hogan with his wife, and then they pan to numerous Hulk Hogan signs in the crowd. We saw Hogan merch. We saw NWO merch as well. That was nice, and I'm glad they're continuing to pay tribute to Hulk Hogan as he deserves. The biggest star in the history of the biggest star in the history of the wrestling business. He does it like the amount of tributes are not 10% of what he deserves. He's meant so much to that company. So rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. So we get some more sponsors, and then they show Mr. Iguana and Psycho Clown in the crowd. And Iguana, of course, is the one who got the big pop. They showed an Xfinity commercial where Jade Cargill gives this mother and a daughter a seat upgrade. You had Megan Moran and Sam Roberts in the commercial as well. And then when they showed Jade, I'm thinking, all right, she's a babyface. They're trying to promote her. She's going to be your new champion. Yeah, we'll get to that. So we had the WWE Women's Championship up next. Tiffany Stratton defending her title against Jade Cargill. Jade was out first to a more of a mild pop, I would say. They had Kind of a special entrance where they had snow effects, like it's a storm coming. Tiffany Stratton's out next to a big pop. I really like Tiffany's blue gear tonight. It looked really nice. Well, of course, Tiffany, everything's going to look nice on her. And Tiffany was definitely much more over when they did the ring introduction, but they weren't booing Jade. And I was liking the match at first. I thought they were starting off really good here. Tiffany does a suicide dive, which was really good. She hits a really good swanton bomb. And I'm thinking, you know what, this is going off really, really well. And they had Tiffany's foot on the rope after Jade hit Jaded. And this looked really bad because Jade actually had to put Tiffany's foot on the rope because she hit the move and it was far enough to the ropes. So that was a mistake, but it was such a quick match. I look at it, it was only 7 minutes long, and it makes me think they really don't trust Jade. So near the end of the match, Jade is going she's going to hit Jaded from the top rope to defeat Tiffany. But instead, Tiffany reverses, and then she gets Jade takes the bump from the top rope. Tiffany then goes to the top rope, hits the prettiest moonsault ever, and just pins Jade Cargill. So they don't think Jade is ready, and that's fine, because I thought this was actually probably one of the best matches she's had in her career. Outside of this match or the Naomi match from WrestleMania, I thought this was actually a little bit better than this. It was a good match. It just was really short. It was only 7 minutes. I'm thinking, you know what, they could have used another few minutes. They could have had a really good match. It was just good. I mean, I guess for the women's tag match was better because they got a lot more time. They got almost double the time. It looks like on the times that are recorded that I see on Wikipedia. But I just felt like they could have used more time. It's just maybe they don't trust Jade that much to have a long match on a PLE like that. But it was decent. It was just too short. But Tiffany retained. I don't think Jade's ready to be a champion yet. I don't think she's ready to have long matches on PLEs. But I hope they keep pushing her and maybe she gets better. I think her losing was actually better for her because if she wins and she fails as champ, it's going to be hard to build her back up again. They promoted The Rock's new MMA movie, The Smashing Machine. I think I might watch that. I don't know. But it actually looks pretty good. Then they had Stephanie McMahon in the crowd. She got a big pop. Everyone liked her. They showed Cardi B. Her pop wasn't nearly as big as the great Stephanie McMahon. Up next was our co-main event. You had Randy Orton and Jelly Roll against Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. Logan's out first. He's hated, of course. Drew gets a good pop when he comes out. Jelly Roll then comes out. He gets a pop, and I really like this theme song. It just makes me sorry, I keep interrupting. I'm talking too fast because I hate these people so much. Whenever I hear someone have a good theme music, it's never with Def Rebel. Have you noticed that? Fuck Def Rebel, you suck. Fire Def Rebel. Fire Def Rebel, WWE. Because Jelly Roll comes out and he looks like a star because he has such a good theme song. And of course, he's a professional. He's a really good musician, of course. He's a really famous country singer, but he comes out, it's just so much better than Def Rebel. It made me think that. And he gets on the mic, he puts over Randy, starts singing Voices, which the fans did a sing-along. Randy Orton comes out. And he gets a big pop, as he always does. And he got the tag match, which started off, he had Jelly Roll and Logan Paul starting. They got the heat on Jelly for a while. It's kind of like we saw in the first two tag matches. It's just kind of weird that they put 3 tag matches on the same show. And the first one, they got the heat on Jey Uso. Second match, they got the heat on Alexa Bliss. Here, they get the heat on Jelly Roll for a while. Eventually, they got the heat, by the way, after Drew tagged in, after Logan tagged Drew in. Then he eventually finally gets a hot tag to Randy. He gets a big pop. On the outside, on the announce booth, Drew hit a Claymore onto Randy. He hit it almost like Roman Reigns used to hit that drive-by move. It's kind of similar to how he hit it in a way, if I remember. And then you had the big spot where Jelly Roll is put on the announce booth, and this is, of course, the poker chip announce booth, the poker table announce booth, and he's on there, and then Logan Paul goes to the top rope, and he takes forever. He grabs 2 Prime bottles, and I think he's going to do the Steve Austin thing where he drinks it like a beer. He does a splash. He doesn't really drink it much, but he jumps from the post, and he does a giant frog splash onto Jelly Roll, and it just smashes through the table. That was one of the best spots of the whole night. That looked fucking amazing. That was so fucking cool. It was an awesome fucking spot. It looked great. And they show Jelly Roll's wife, who is very attractive, by the way. Money in this world buys you a lot of things, everyone. And, she's obviously she's way out of this league, but He's got a lot of money, and she looked very concerned for Jelly. And Jelly Roll selling it like he's dead. You have all these trainers coming out, all these doctors that are helping Jelly Roll. I'm thinking, are they going to get a stretcher for him now because they're selling it so well? But I mean, they're making it like Jelly Roll was just murdered on live television, and it becomes a handicap match for a while. They beat up Randy, and they keep showing Jelly Roll. He's up the ramp now. Look, he's trying to look back. He keeps falling down to one knee. Eventually, he makes a heroic save. He comes back to help Randy Orton. He makes a comeback. He gets the hot tag, and he goes crazy. He hits a choke slam on Logan Paul. Then he hits the black hole slam on Drew McIntyre. Eventually, Drew hits a Claymore on Jelly. Randy Orton comes and hits an RKO on Drew, but Logan, he does something to get Randy out of the ring. Eventually, Randy is out. Now Logan's there with Jelly. He goes to the top, hits a frog splash, pins Jelly Roll, 1, 2, 3. Logan Paul was excellent in this match. He was the MVP of the match easily here. He was great here. He gets the win for his team. Logan Paul did well, and Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre victorious. I thought it's really cool. Jelly Roll was willing to lose. Celebrities never lose, so Jelly Roll going in there, taking the pin, losing was pretty cool. So good on Jelly Roll here. That was the best it could have been. It was what you expect. Kind of in some ways, better in some ways, worse in others. They got a lot of time. Other matches didn't get a lot of time. I thought, the Tiffany Jade didn't get any time. That's what I'm kind of annoyed with. They got like no time here, but on this show. But here, it was good. It was the best it really could have been, I guess, with Jelly Roll in there. They promoted, and also, props to him for taking the fall, for losing, taking that big bump. They did well here. I enjoyed it. They promote Clash in Paris, which is at the end of the month. Then they preview tomorrow's card for night 2. Eventually, it's the main event time. We get the video package. CM Punk comes out to a big pop in New Jersey. Gunther's out. He's definitely the villainous heel, as you can see. I like the pillars of the Gunther symbol of the Imperium, the old Imperium symbol on the giant LED screen. It's a nice contrast as he makes his entrance, and the floor of the stage is all black now. It's kind of similar to like the WrestleMania 4-Day floor stage. It looked really nice, by the way, when he's making his entrance. It looked really good. I liked his entrance, and of course it's nightfall now. It'd make you think this was a show on the West Coast because it was light the whole time. I mean, they're starting at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I don't know why they start that early. They usually always start at 7. But, I mean, it was light. Now it's all dark. And it looked a lot better when it was dark. I like the look of the stadium when it's dark. And we get the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther defending his title against CM Punk. He had an electric atmosphere to start, I have to say. Gunther hit a lot of chops. He was beating the shit out of CM Punk. He got the heat on for a while. It was a tough physical match to start, and you had Gunther putting the sharpshooter onto CM Punk, I guess to mock Bret Hart, where he trolled him really badly last year when he said Bill Goldberg was his favorite wrestler, and he went on to retire Bill Goldberg, and he complained about it, by the way. I don't want to get into that, but Punk reverses into his own sharpshooter. Fans thought he was going to do the figure four, but he did his own sharpshooter. We got some moves when he was trying to do the figure four. And Gunther just chops the shit out of CM Punk. I felt bad for him. I think the worst chop was actually when he hit Punk on the back with a chop, and just sweat flew off him. It was kind of gross, but it looked like it hurt, really. He beats the fuck out of CM Punk. Punk's bleeding, and Gunther was bleeding too from the pec, as he got chopped a lot too by Punk. Gunther took a beating too, but Punk is just so much worse. He took power bombs from Gunther. He's just taking kicks, taking chops like crazy. He's just getting the living shit kicked out of him. Gunther is just, man, he's killing this fucking poor guy. Punk tries to rally. He kicks out of a power bomb, but Gunther just keeps beating him down. Eventually, he gets onto the outside, onto the announce booth. And similar to WrestleMania last year with Drew when Punk tripped him on the announce booth, Gunther's on the announce booth, but Punk trips him, and Gunther goes flying off. And Gunther goes under the announce booth, and you can tell, right, he's doing a blade job, and he is. And he comes up, and he's all bloody. His forehead's covered in blood. We never see blood anymore. But Gunther is bleeding profusely, and they say it's from his nose. You can tell it's coming from his forehead, because you can tell if it's coming from his nose. It'd be dripping down his mouth, and it was from his forehead. So he did the blade here, and he is bleeding, and they told such a great story. They show Punk punching the nose. That's what the announcers are trying to say. He hits that running knee. Eventually, he's taking control. Punk's on fire here. Gunther gets a sleeper. He gets a sleeper. Punk gets out of it. Eventually, Punk survives the sleeper hold. He hits the go to sleep, and this was just great because when Punk hits the go to sleep, Gunther stands on his feet, and he's about to fall and looks like he's going to collapse, and he's all bloody. It's such a great visual. That was my favorite moment of the whole night. And then Gunther eventually, he goes forward to Punk, picks him up again, hits a second GTS. 1, 2, 3. CM Punk is your new World Heavyweight Champion. And after he hits that, go to sleep, that amazing moment, he wins the belt. CM Punk wins a battle, a war, a fight. He just looks like he got the shit kicked out of him. He looks like he aged 5 years in the match. He is so beat up. He eventually gets the World Heavyweight Championship. When the ref awards him the belt, he's emotional. He's crying. This is such a great moment. This is awesome. And Michael Cole's talking about all the bitterness over the 10 years, everything he went through with the company. He's back. He's the World Heavyweight Champion in WWE. It's such a great moment. Cole's going over the journey. He finally gets to his feet. He stands tall. CM Punk, your new World Heavyweight Champion. And then we hear Burn It Down. Seth's music hits. However, he comes out. Paul Heyman's holding the briefcase. Seth's on crutches. And it looks like, all right, they're teasing us. Punk's going to celebrate after Seth goes away. And they keep celebrating to end SummerSlam. That's it. Okay, he's going back. He's still holding Money in the Bank. They want to tell you that. Cole's trying to tell you that. And then Seth, and this was a great moment. He's still limping. Then all of a sudden he stands tall. He drops the crutches. He removes the brace. And he heads to the ring with the briefcase. This was a great moment. He grabs a referee. I think it's Jessica Carr. Sends her to the ring. And he just goes right at Punk. He beats the living shit out of Punk with the briefcase. Hits him multiple times with the briefcase. Just destroys this man. Seth then officially cashes in. Immediately he hits the curb stomp on onto CM Punk. Rollins hits a curb stomp onto Punk. 1, 2, 3. Seth Rollins, your new World Heavyweight Champion. He stands tall with Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, his whole group. He is your new World Heavyweight Champion. There's a visual where they hold the belt, where Rollins is holding the belt up with his group, and they're standing over Punk's fallen body. There was a promo with CM Punk caught on Raw. I think it was a month ago. He cut this on Raw regarding Punk. He says, as long as I have breath in my lungs, CM Punk will not be world champion in the WWE. He was wrong for about 5 minutes, but he eventually stopped Punk's title reign, his 5-minute title reign. Seth Rollins, your new World Heavyweight Champion, he cashes in after he did it 10 years ago. I mean, the cash in 10 years ago is way more memorable at WrestleMania 31 when he cashed in during the Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns main event. That's the greatest Money in the Bank cash-in of all time. This is up there, though. This was a very good cash-in. It's a second cash-in. 10 years later, he does it again. He wins the World Heavyweight Championship. This is also the fourth cash-in SummerSlam history, the third time it's been in the main event. 2011, CM Punk was cashed in after he won the WWE Championship from John Cena. He defeated John Cena when they were both WWE Champions, and he got cashed in on by Alberto Del Rio. 2 years later, Daniel Bryan won the WWE Championship from John Cena, but Triple H turned on him, and then Randy Orton came in and cashed in Money in the Bank. In 2023, this wasn't the main event, but this was for the woman. Bianca Belair won I believe this was the WWE Women's Championship, and then Io Sky immediately cashed in Money in the Bank, and she pinned Bianca Belair to win that title in 2023, 2 years ago. And now, this year, Seth Rollins cashing in on his rival, CM Punk, at the end of the show to win the World Heavyweight Championship. And Michael Cole talked about this being the ruse of the century. The heist of the century was 10 years ago. This was the ruse of the century because they faked the whole knee injury. It was all storyline. He was never really hurt on Saturday Night's Main Event. I admit, I thought he was hurt. You can go back and watch my video on Saturday Night's Main Event when I reviewed the show. I thought Seth was legitimately hurt and he was going to miss 6 months with a torn ACL or something. But he wasn't hurt. He was fine the whole time. It was all a storyline. Seth Rollins cashed in. All part of the show here, everyone. And that's how SummerSlam ended. Night 1 ended. Seth Rollins, your new World Heavyweight Champion. Some notes on the post show. I didn't watch all of it, but I saw some of the highlights. I saw Alexa and Charlotte there. They were celebrating together as champions. People are telling them to hug it out. They're chanting friends at them. That was a nice moment. Jelly Roll was on the panel, I think, throughout the whole time. He looked like he was having the best time. And Triple H was putting him over like crazy when he came there. And eventually Triple H came. There's no, he wasn't doing the whole podium thing where he's standing and taking questions from reporters. He's just there talking to the WWE panel. I like that format a lot better. It was outside of MetLife Stadium. That was a much better format than what they usually do, which I don't like. So that was the post show. And night one, overall, I liked the show a lot. I thought it was very good. I thought it was better than last year's SummerSlam, which from Cleveland in 2024, maybe because the main event was so much better. I thought it was better than 2 years ago, to be honest, the show in Detroit. And I was actually there for that show, and I thought this was actually a better show overall. I enjoyed it more than most people, it seems online. It seems to be mostly positive, but I actually really liked it. I liked the opening tag match. I liked the women's tag match a lot. Yeah, I mean, the Sami Zayn, Karrion Kross match sucked. The Tiffany Jade match was fine. It just was too short. The second tag, the Jelly Roll tag match, that worked. I thought that was pretty good. And the main event, I thought was a classic match. One of the best SummerSlam main events of all time. And it counts just as a match itself. The cash-in happened after the fall was counted. That Punk Gunther has to be one of the best main events of all time in the history of SummerSlam. It really is. It's not the best SummerSlam match, but the best matches in SummerSlam, most of them didn't happen in the main event. So it has to be in the top 5, I think. Yeah, it was a great moment to end the show after that. And SummerSlam Night 1, to me, it really delivered. I thought Night 2 had the better card. It had much more gimmick matches, I have to say. But as a show, I really liked SummerSlam tonight. I enjoyed Night 1. I enjoyed SummerSlam Saturday. And hopefully SummerSlam Sunday is not only just as good, but it's even better. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens tomorrow. Triple H on the post show did say, we've seen nothing yet. I hope he's right. I hope something happens tomorrow.